Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Raina Marie Paucar and you are tuned in to another episode of Young Black Equestrians.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a young.
I am a young.
I'm a young.
I am
And I am a young
Black.
A young black.
young
Black.
A young black.
Black equestrian.
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 black equestrian.
Equestrian.
Black equestrian.
equestrian.
Black equestrian.
I'm a young black equestrian.
I am a young black equestrian.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Young Black Equestrians with your hosts, Abriana Johnson.
And Caitlin Gooch.
Today on the podcast, we have Raina, and I'm so excited to hear her story, hear about the work that she's done with racehorses, and just collect all the gems that she can drop for us today. So welcome to the show, Raina.
Thank you both, Abriana and Caitlin. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we always ask everyone to just start off by telling us about themselves, what you do, where you're located, and kind of your backstory.
All right, the dreaded question. Tell me about yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I live in Ohio right now, and I would say as far as my current discipline, it's multidiscipline. I ride hunt seat, but I also like to do a lot of dressage, classical dressage with the horses that I work with. And I also like to do a lot of groundwork. So it's really a combination of those three things. And if I ever get my horse quiet enough, I love to go on some trail rides. So we're aspiring to do that this summer.
Yeah. Trail life.
Yep.
That is cool. So how did you get into horses in the first place? Were you kind of born into it, or you just had fall in your lap? Like, how did that even start?
So I'm a first generation equestrian. My grandfather was actually dating this woman at the time, and she was riding horses. She was into horses. And one day she took me to a barn when she was having lessons. She rode saddle seat. I went there. I saw horses and I was like, oh my God, this is wow. They were just, they just captivated me. That the minute I stepped into the barn and I saw her riding and I just got to interact with the horses, I just fell in love right there. And so as a gift, I got some lessons. My mom was like, all right. So I first started out with saddle seat, but then I saw some people jumping horses and I was like, that's where it's at for me. And so I switched tech over, to hunters. And I did that for several years. I think I was like 8 years old when I started riding. Mm-hmm. And I did shows and everything. I competed at some rated shows, and that was good and bad. I had some good times and I had some really crappy times, to be honest. That's when I kind of realized I'm different, and why are people looking at me? Why are people making comments about my hair? See, this hair is straightened right now. But when I was showing and everything, my mom, God bless you, Mom, she didn't really know how to do my hair. Like, I had my grandmother who used to do my hair because I'm mixed. So when it was just me and Mom, it was just, do the best you can. And so, yeah, those were some of the experiences that I had with showing. I did that competitively for several years. And I just got tired of it. It was mostly, white people, honestly, at that time. And where I lived, it was very money based. I guess it still is. But then I was different on top of it. I wasn't white passing, and my horse was a big Appaloosa. And I was in these classes with these cute little dapple gray ponies, and these girls with pigtails, and we definitely stood out. And I just got tired of the politics with the horse shows. And I took a break. I never stopped riding my horse, but I got out of that whole show world. And then I went off to college, and then I got to see racehorses for the first time, and I was like, and it was diverse. There was all kinds of everybody from everywhere, and I was like, oh my God. It was just, that was it. I got sucked in, happily, gratefully. I broke babies. I learned how to break thoroughbreds on the farm in Ocala. Then from there, I galloped for several years, many, many years. And then I got my jockey license, and I started riding. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That is definitely a interesting trajectory. When you went to college, what did you major in, or like what did you want to be when you grew up? What was
Yeah.
your thought process behind that?
Well, before I went to college, I always wanted to do something with horses, but honestly, showing really soured me from that. I thought that was all there was. And I was like, I don't want to be around these kind of people. I don't want to feel how I felt, So I didn't know that there was anything else for me, what else was available. So when I went to college, I thought international business. I was really interested in that. And well, I studied that for a while. Much to my parents' and family's dismay, I dropped out of college to learn how to gallop and ride, because it was I was more passionate about that at the time. That was really what I wanted to do and what I was looking for. So that's how that went. But yeah.
Oh, cool. It's always interesting to see how we have plans for our life, and then something shiny comes along and it's like, I'd rather do that.
Yeah. I mean, I still do things with business. I develop products and whatnot. So it's still important. I still do a lot of studying and self-development, but at that point in my life, I mean, I'm in my 40s now, but I was 18 at the time, 19, and I was still fit and strong. I didn't really have injuries and and whatnot at that time. So I just went for it. I mean, there was a lot of there was pushback because it wasn't on the racetrack. It wasn't even a racial barrier anymore. It was a gender barrier to become a jockey. There's lots of women who gallop, but at that time there weren't as many female riders. There still really aren't that many female riders, but especially we're talking more than 20 years ago. But yeah.
So how did that lead up to what you are doing now?
So let's see. I think it was like a couple years into galloping, I started recognizing there were racehorses that they couldn't run anymore. They couldn't train anymore, but they would be perfectly suitable, to go on to a second career as a hunter or a jumper or a low level eventer or something. And at the time, this was like 1998, 99, there really weren't many ex-racehorse rescues at that time. It was mostly people just doing it on their own, and I was one of them. So, I mean, I did end up adopting one horse. I just loved him so much. He was a horse that I galloped, and happened to be one day, I didn't go there. I got a phone call because this was on the farm, and they said, hey, this horse, he's not going to make it. You want to take him because we don't know what to do with him. They were going to put him down. So I was like, oh my God, no, I'll take him. Meanwhile, I'm broke at this point. So I was I'm literally living off of ramen noodles so that I could make sure that this horse has board and vet bills covered. And oh my goodness, everything. Luckily, I had a great vet that I worked with to rehab this horse. And that was really my first step into rehabbing ex-race horses. He went on to be a therapy horse. So he assisted people with PTSD and other emotional issues. And, even some differently abled children were able to ride him. So he ended up having a great career. He was such a sweet horse. That was it for me. That was more rewarding than anything. And from there, I went on to learn more things about equine therapy. I became certified as equine massage therapist. I got certified in PEMF, kinesiotape, and laser. So I kind of learned all these things to really assist with the horses that I was working with, in addition to vet care and retraining them. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of experience under your belt. Do you think that at the time that you entered college, say if you didn't go to college, would this career path have been an option for you at that time? Like, how would you have entered that? Like, was that, I mean, because I know you said that not a lot of people were rehabbing, they were trying to kind of doing it on their own. But, like today, we are definitely encouraging kids to look into different horse careers. So I'm just
Yes.
wondering, like, how did that look for you at that time?
At that time, I had no idea any of this existed. It was just like a divine path to just, that opened up for me. And, I just embraced it. I just kept an open mind and just kept moving forward with, what felt right. And, just more and more horses came into my life. And, I guess it was a natural progression. But now there's so many more options for kids. I mean, I would love to have my own place and just have lots of kids come and ride free of charge, just so they could experience the gift of horses. Because, when I was in school, honestly, the only thing that kept me focused and straight was knowing that I have riding lessons. I have a lesson horse that I get to ride, and, that kept me focused, kept my grades up, and kept me on task. And I just think that could be beneficial for so many kids. And, now that there's more programs, I think there could be much more, but obviously there's, financial considerations with that. But yeah, I mean, at the time, like, I didn't know it was even an option.
Yeah. That exposure is so like key. And now when we're in the position where we can facilitate that exposure at an earlier age, like you can just give people the options, give kids the options that they have before they get tens of thousands of dollars into debt.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah, I think that's super important.
Yeah.
So what is one of the biggest challenges you've faced in the horse industry, and kind of what did you learn from that situation?
Well, honestly, the very first issue was implicit bias. When I was a child, that was the first issue. It just never sat right with me. Like, I didn't know I really thought something was wrong with me. And where I grew up in a city. Like, it was really diverse. There were mixed kids. Like me, my best friend was mixed. I had friends of all different colors and races, and it was very diverse. But my barn life was nice. Everyone at the barn was cool. But once I got to those horse shows, oh man. So that was my first real, I guess, hurdle. But I'm grateful for it because I learned a lot from it. And I think that in a weird way, it put me on the right path in my life. So that was the first one. And then probably the next one was, when I got to racing and, being a woman, and just kind of fighting for mounts, for guys that I believed were a little less talented than I was, but they would, get the mount, even though I would gallop the horse in the morning, there would be a change last minute and they would put this guy on and stuff like that, so that was a lot to overcome, but I still rode. I just, I did my thing. I did the best I could. I worked hard, and I took it where I wanted to take it, so I was comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm really proud of you for not giving up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, when I was a kid, it was hard, it was like a very, very strange place to be. Very lonely, but I love the horses, so.
Yeah. What is a common misconception people have about rehabbing racehorses?
Oh, that they're crazy, that they don't know how to do so many things, that they just assume racehorses, they just don't know anything. And I like to explain to people that racehorses are much more experienced than your average show horse, because racehorses see so much. I mean, they have lived a life before they retire. They've seen all kinds of things on the racetrack. I mean, from loading into the gates, you know, cars, people, noise, crowds. You know, there's so much stimuli at the track. There's so much that they're exposed to, and that they have to handle. You know, in addition to their training and everything. I think people don't give racehorses or ex-racehorses enough credit as to what kind of exposure that they've had and what kind of, you know, worldly experience that they've had. Because a horse show to an ex-racehorse is going to be a piece of cake compared to life at the track.
Yeah. I'm sure of it. From the people, the noise, the, you know, flags, like trash bag.
Oh yes, trash bags or plastic bags rolling across the track.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Geese, you know, there's for some reason at every racetrack I've ever been to, there's always the geese. And they walk across the track, you know, of course, while you're galloping or something. It's like, oh my gosh. So I mean, yeah, there's just lots.
That is so crazy. Has your kind of career path in the racing industry like allowed you to travel a lot?
Oh, I've been very nomadic. When I was riding, I lived in several states. I have not really ridden outside of the United States, but I've ridden in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Massachusetts, Florida. Man, I think that's it. I'd have to go back and look, but yeah, I've lived a lot of places, and you know, I rode a lot of places. You go wherever you can get the mounts, you know.
Yeah.
Do you want to go out the country?
Oh, I live in the country now, and I love it actually. I live in Ohio, and where I live, it's pretty country. I mean, I've got my horse right down the street. I'd love to have my horse with me, obviously, but property laws and whatnot. But I love the country. Yeah.
I meant outside of the United States.
Oh, have I been outside of the U.S.?
Also, do you want to go out?
I've been to Peru, Canada, and I would definitely love to do equestrian vacations, and I'd love to go to Africa and ride and visit in general. I'd like to go to New Zealand and ride. So I have aspirations. I haven't been there yet, but yeah, only a couple places. But I got to ride in Peru, but
Yeah, it's probably one of those like manned things where like the horses, you could be on them or not be on them, and they're gonna walk the same way.
Exactly right. They're just like, all right, I'll just sit back. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
We're going this way. Yeah.
Right. So what vision do you have kind of for the future of the work that you're doing?
Oh, I have so many goals.
Lay them out. We're here for goals.
Goodness. Yeah, I have a lot of goals. I mean, first, I have a couple of products that I developed. I developed something called a drop and slow, which is like a equine slow feeder. I could just show you right here. I have it. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
It helps a lot with, you know, slowing them down, because my horse, he bolts his grain, you know, he's kind of piggy. So I came up with this because nothing else on the market had worked. So I developed this. I'm having a bucket made for this specifically. So it's deeper than most of the feed tubs on the market. So it'll help horses that like to sling the grain out of there, and it'll slow them down. So it's two problems solved in, you know, one product. So I have that going, and I'm hoping, you know, I want to have my own farm. I want to do my own rescue for ex-race horses, because I get a lot of people who, you know, they want to give their horse to me because they know that I'll work hard to find a good home for it and I'll do right by the horse. But I don't have a facility for that. I board. If you board a horse, you know how expensive that is. So, and I like to take my time when I work with horses, especially, the ex-race horses. I don't like to rush them. I like to give them time off. I like to let them be a horse. So I really love to have my own place so that I can retrain and rehab horses really the way that that I feel is the right way to do by them, to give them the best chance. So that's one goal. And then, of course, if I had a place, I'd love to have kids who are interested in horses, who, don't have the financial means or ability. I'd love to just have a couple real nice ponies or something that they could come and learn on. And I would love to do that. I would just love that, because I think every kid deserves to have the ability or the chance to get to experience how wonderful horses is and how it can, change your life.
Yes. Yeah. So Caitlin, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, it just sounds like, we're here.
Yeah.
That is definitely my life mission, to just keep exposing kids to horses and doing it for free. Making sure that they have a safe and positive experience.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, because honestly, I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for horses. I have no idea what I would be doing. Probably something not so great.
About like being in school, like that was my reason for keeping my grades up. And we had horses, but I couldn't go, like if I was getting in trouble at school.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to rewind it back a little bit to the drop and slow.
Oh, sure.
Tell us about this. I mean, you told us a little bit, but this journey to developing a product, because we have been in conversation with people who are trying to develop products, and they have told us like it's impossible. So we've kind of been like, how is this a secret thing? Like it's a secret sauce. How does this even happen? So can you like walk us through that journey? How do you even get something like that manufactured?
Oh, sure. Where do I start? Okay. It's because it is. No, I was exactly what you're talking about. That's where I was. But I am very tenacious, and I was like, I am going to get this thing to market. I'm going to do it. Okay. It's 3 years later. It took a long time, but the first thing to do is to start with your idea and to try to get some market validity, like to throw it out to consumers in a way without exactly exposing what your product is. Because if it's proprietary, if it's something that's new, or a redesign of a product that's already existing, but it's something that you can patent, because I have multiple patents pending on this, and that was a whole nother thing, but I'll get to that. I'll just kind of gloss over it. But the first thing is you want to prove that there's a problem that you can solve with your issue. And there's multiple ways to do that. You could have a prototype or a 3D rendering, or you could just do a simple survey and just throw it out there. Hey, like what I did was I surveyed people about the existing slow feeders on the market, and I figured out what didn't work. I mean, I knew it didn't work for me, but that's me. So I wanted to make sure it was like a universal issue. So I did that. And then it took me a year of prototyping and rendering, because I found you find somebody who can do CAD work for you. So you find a CAD engineer. There's plenty of them on Fiverr, or you just Google CAD engineer. And I worked with someone, and it took a few months to prototype this, and then I had it 3D printed multiple times. And I just kept testing and trying with my horse, who was like the best and worst candidate, because it was really for horses like him. The first design I had, he kept pitching it out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill this horse, because he kept cracking the prototypes, and it was like $100. So, okay, we got past that. I got past it to the final design and it worked on multiple horses, like hundreds. So that was that. And then I did go to a lawyer to find out about patenting my product. That's not something everybody does or has to do, but I wanted to make sure that
Protected.
protect it. One, that it was eligible. So you have to do a thing called prior art search to make sure that your invention doesn't exist already, because sometimes they do. And then once you do a prior art search, you can just go on Google Patents and just kind of like type in the idea of what your idea or invention does, if it's a physical product. And then you can go from there. You just kind of search through there. The other option is you pay an attorney who specializes in patents. You would pay them to do the search for you, and it's not cheap. It starts at like $1,000, but that lets you know, hey, my idea is valid, or it's already out there. I advise doing it the cheap way first, just to make sure, and then move forward from there, and then have your lawyer do the work for you and file everything properly. And then the next phase is manufacturing. Once you have a CAD file or 3D file of your actual product that works, then you would find a manufacturer. You would have to find somebody who can make the mold for you, because I highly, highly recommend that if you have a physical product that you want to bring to market, you source your own mold manufacturer. Don't go through a sourcing company, because let me tell you, they're going to tack on $10, $12, $15,000 profit just for them, just to put in their pocket for work that you can do yourself. So I would recommend looking for a steel mold manufacturer. You can do it in the United States, or you can do it in China. I did my mold in China because it's cheaper, and a lot of the US manufacturers that I was going to go through, they were going to source the mold from China anyway and then just bring it here. So that's what I did. So that's kind of the rough phases of it. And then marketing. And I also trademarked the name. Drop and Slow, it's a registered trademark. I got that done. So I recommend, if you have a product that's unique, you find a name that's unique, that the domain's available. Oh, because I want to give you a quick little what happened to me on Drop and Slow. So I filed the initial trademark, and 4 days later, somebody bought the website, because they saw that I had filed the trademark. So they bought it and priced it for $9. Luckily, I don't really need the website. I am talking to retailers who are going to stock this anyway. So I don't really need, actually dropandslow.com. I can just do Drop and Slow Feeder. It doesn't matter. I don't really need the exact website, but for ease of, that's one mistake, I would say, do that. So I have other products that I'm working on, and that was the first thing I did, was I looked to see that the domain is available, pay the $12, and just, buy it and secure your name, and then, trademark it. Highly recommend doing that.
Yeah, the $12 investment is so worth it.
Right. It's not worth the headache of dealing with someone who wants to charge $1,000 for just squatting on your name.
Right.
So luckily for me, it's not that important. It's not a deal breaker for me, because I'm going to house this under another brand anyway. But just for future reference, because some people just do one product. So if this is your your $1 million product, get your website, and make sure you do a trademark search, that it's available, because it'll say no records. That's usually the best way to do that, and then hire a lawyer to actually trademark it for you, because I tried to do it on my own. Just pay the money. It's not worth the headache.
Yeah. How long do you think it took for you to get that trademark back?
This one, okay, so when I filed the trademark, I forgot what it was called. I wasn't actually using the trademark, it was intent to use. So it took a year, about a year, maybe a little more than a year. It wasn't that long, but if you're already using the name, so say you already bought the domain and you have even a prototype, if you have a prototype of your product and you sell it to somebody, you're using the trademark. So usually if you've had some sales and you're already using the name, it's quicker. You can have, 6 to 8 months, I would say. I have a couple more that are pending. I'll let you know, but I know other people who have done it. And it's a shorter time that you'll actually get that nice little circle with the R in it.
Yes. Yes. So what about the patent? What's the time frame on that?
Oh, they can take forever. Really, they can take a really long time. I have multiple patents pending. So if you're doing a design patent and the patent just protects the way that your product looks and not the way that it functions, that's what you would use a design patent for. Those are generally like 18 months. About 18 months. If you have a good lawyer who has all your paperwork in order and your line drawings and all that. Utility patents take a lot longer. So utility patents are based on the functionality of your product, what your product does. And if you have a good lawyer who can really give a good distinction as to how your product is different, why it's different and what it does, that can take 18 months minimum or longer. Yeah. Yeah, so that's just general, but design patents are easier, faster. Utility patents, they're a lot longer, but it depends on what kind of protection you need.
Right. So with all this information that you have shared,
yeah,
how did you stay the course for something that takes this long? Like what was that continuous driver? Because a lot of people will be like, 18 months, I don't want to do that. Like the time's not going to pass anyway.
Because I believe in my product. I know it works and I know it's going to help some horses. It's going to help some owners. I just believe in it. I just it's just this underlying feeling of, I know this is going to make money. I know this is going to change lives for horses and owners. It's going to bring ease. I've already validated it with retailers. Before I brought it to market, I created a simple little sell sheet about the product before it was even a product. And I just said, hey, I've got this idea. What do you think? And I had a couple of really big retailers interested in it. I approached a couple companies about licensing it, but that didn't work out. And that's fine. I bring it to market myself. So you got to really believe in your product, and just think, is this really going to solve problems for people? Because if it's going to solve problems, everybody's looking for something that's going to make their life easier. It's better to just wait the 18 months. You don't even have to wait until 18 months to start selling your product.
Right.
Just have it in place. Just have it pending. It's fine. And you don't even have to have your trademark registered. As long as you got it in, filed and you got that little TM, that's enough to deter people too. And that's all you really need. You have your website, you have your trademark in place, and a patent if it's needed. And then, you go to production and you start selling, whether it's through a retailer or you do it yourself. What difference does it make if it's 3 months or 18 months? Because in 2 years from now, when it's still not available or somebody else brings it to market, you're going to be kicking yourself. You're going to, don't live with the regret, just go for it,
Yeah.
I could have suggested this in a group chat, because there was like this long conversation in the comments, because someone was looking for a slow feeder for their horse. And like literally everybody was suggesting extra large, like slow feeders, but they were made for dogs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I tried all the other equine slow feeders, and they didn't do anything for my horse. So that's why I was like, I can do this. And another thing too is I worked at an equine hospital, and there were a lot of horses that had colic surgery, and kind of make sure they weren't eating the grain too fast, and it just kept coming, so I had to do it. It kept popping in my head. I'd be washing the dishes. I'd be like, slow feeder, slow feeder. What are you doing to make your slow feeder?
Yeah.
And it just kept coming. So I just kept going for it, even though I mean, like I said, it's taken me 3 years to get to this point. So, I mean, it'll be, I sell the tops. They fit a lot of the feed buckets on the market right now. But I was like, I can make a better feed bucket too. So that's what I'm in the process of doing. So,
and I'm sure now that you've gotten this first kind of complete process out of the way, additional, supporting accessories, like it comes easier for you because you've already done the process.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing is, if you have an idea and you want to create a product yourself, the only way you're going to learn is by doing. I mean, you can have it's good to have a mentor. I didn't really get a mentor until later on. When I hit a wall, I was like, what do I do next? And I wasn't sure what to do or how to go about everything. Because there's also legal stuff, you got to make sure you have product insurance and, general liability insurance, all those kinds of things. Which would be great to have a mentor for. But I want to say the hardest part is learning about it. Implementing the work is not that hard once you kind of find a rhythm and everything starts falling into place. But the first steps are to do your prior art search, to make go on Google Patents and make sure your product didn't exist 100 years ago and just no one's making it anymore or something, and someone still has the patent on it. And the trademark, website, and then, like I said, patents if you need to, because you can also do something called a provisional patent. So if you don't have a lot of money, but you have maybe $1,000 or $2,000 that you can invest, it's a write-off, so make sure you have a business. You can get a provisional patent, and that can protect you for 1 year until you file for your other patents. So you can be selling your product and have some protection, peace of mind. And then also with the provisional patent, it gives you validation. If your product is selling and you've made a nice profit and you've covered all your expenses and making the profit, then it's worth it to buy yourself a utility patent or invest in that design patent. So, that's just another option for people.
Yeah.
And then they'll have specimens to send in, because you have to do that too if you're using it.
Yep.
That's wild. That's crazy. I didn't even know that we were going to talk about this today.
I guess someone needed to hear it,
Yeah. But it's so good. There's so many people who have great ideas. And like you said, I mean, education is the barrier to a lot of this. It's like, I Google this information. There's so many advertisements for people trying to sell you something. And it's like, all I asked was, how do I build this thing? How do I, and so it's just so hard sometimes to weed out the BS on the internet. So thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure
my pleasure. I'm always happy to share, because the worst thing I hate to see inventors and people who have original ideas get ripped off. And there's so many companies. I never fell prey to any of that, but so many people do, just because they want it so bad, but then they don't know any better. So I'm happy to share with people whatever knowledge I have, so they don't make the same mistakes that I made. Why?
Yeah. That is awesome. So what advice, you've given a lot already, what advice would you give aspiring equestrians, or, since we have this new angle, aspiring business owners who are trying to, just make something shake?
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll start with equestrians first. It's going to sound so cliche, but obviously, the biggest thing is believe in yourself, and, don't pay attention to negativity or other people getting in your way or making you feel less for whatever reason. because you have value, you are worth it, you are capable, and horses are for everybody. So I would say go for whatever lights you up with horses. Just go for it. And the same for business, I guess. I think horses are much easier, actually.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
You know, horses just love you. You know, they love you, or they don't.
But they let you know.
Yeah,
But
they're authentic. You know, horses aren't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
And as far as business, if you have an idea or a business idea, now is the perfect time. There are a lot of actually free resources if you are an inventor or if you're a business person and you have something you know you want to bring to life. The best time to be an entrepreneur. Set up your own business. There's lots of tax advantages. There's lots of ways you can learn how to play the game. I think a really good a free resource is score.org. There's a lot. I know I found a really great mentor from there. I still talk to him. He's really coached me through some tough times. And they're free. I mean, there's a lot of coaches that'll say, oh, $5,000 for every other week for a month. I mean, I'm not saying they don't have value, but why?
Right.
You know, as long as you know when you have experience and you pay it forward, and you help somebody else who's behind you, you lift them up.
Yeah.
Just like somebody helped lift you up. And I don't think the dollar amount should be involved in that. So I would recommend Score. You can find a mentor for free that's done what you've done, and it will help you progress and avoid pitfalls, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just go for it.
I like them, and the thing that I went to my mentor about, it got resolved with their help. So I would definitely back that recommendation.
Great. Yeah. I mean, I know I would have made some would have made some very costly mistakes if I didn't have a really good mentor in place. So
Right. That's cool. So our last kind of interview question is, what does the word equestrian mean to you?
A horse lover who puts horsemanship first, somebody who loves the horse above anything else and is willing to do whatever it takes to ensure the horse's well-being, and guide them and support them. That's what it means to me, is someone who loves the animal. It's fun to ride and all that and train. I mean, obviously we all love that, but I think being a good horseman is being an equestrian.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, it's time for the Derby round. Derby round. You answer with the first thing that comes to mind, either or, and then the first thing that comes to mind. I said that backwards, but whatever, you get what I'm saying. All right, so are you ready?
Okay.
All right, so English or Western?
Oh, English.
Solids or spots?
Spots.
Bays or grays?
Oh, bay.
Brown tack or black tack?
Oh, black tack goes with everything.
Yeah. Sponge or curry brush?
Oh, I need both.
Okay. Shod or barefoot?
Barefoot.
Bumper pull or gooseneck?
I can't drive a gooseneck, so I'll say bumper pull.
Okay. A rope halter or a nylon halter?
I have both. I guess rope.
Wood fence or electric fence?
Oh, wood fence.
Yeah. What is your favorite piece of barn equipment?
Oh, man, my hoof pick. My hoof pick.
That's a good one. What is your favorite piece of tack?
My cavesson.
And can you explain what that is for people who may not?
Cavesson is like a lunge halter. It has 3 rings.
Mhm.
Yeah, I use that for double lunging and long lining.
Mhm. And when was the last time you fell off?
Oh, it's been a while.
Knock on all the woods.
Yeah, it's been a couple years, but that's because I'm not really galloping that much. But when you gallop, those odds, it's like, every few months you're falling off. So
Yeah.
it's been a minute, which means I'm due, which now you're scaring me. It's me.
You knock on all the woods. You'll be
It's coming.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If money was no object, what is one horse-related purchase you would buy?
I would buy a gigantic farm with a lot of acreage and pasture, so I could just adopt a bunch of the horses that nobody wants or they're not rideable, and just let them be pasture pets and live out the rest of their life happily. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Same. It is a necessity.
Mhm.
Well, that is it. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. We actually connected in a clubhouse room,
Yeah,
like after the after party on Instagram.
right. Yep.
So I'm just really happy. I haven't even really been on Clubhouse in a very long time, but I'm just happy that we were able to connect and get you on the show.
Me too. Thank you both. Thank you, ladies, so much. I'm so grateful. I had a great time.
Yeah, we did
And
too.
yeah, you ladies are awesome. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Let our people know where they can find you on the interwebs if they want to learn more about dropping slow.
Mhm.
Okay.
You got it. Well, if you want to learn more about the slow feeder, that's dropandslowfeeder.com. If you want to find me, you can find me at highvibeequine.com. I have some resources I'm putting together for X-race horses in particular, for training and what to look for when you're new to X-race horses and you want to look for one to adopt or buy. I'm also going to be putting together my own podcast, which is going to be called the X-Race Horse Resource, where I'm just going to bring on a bunch of people who are experts in working with X-race horses and adoption and rehoming. So that's what I'm up to for my next big thing. I'm in the process of putting that together because my goal is to make sure that every X-race horse gets adopted and gets put into a good home. That's my dream.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We'll be sure to link everything in our show notes. And
Thank you.
with that, we'll let you go.
All right. Thank you so much. You ladies have a great day. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Young Black Equestrians. Head over to our Facebook or Instagram pages and let us know what you thought about that episode. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and have the opportunity to be featured in our next episode. See you next week.